Hey everybody, I'm Marcy Marcusa. We've got a special edition of the podcast today. We are at RRC Polytech to learn about the future of students here and hoping to keep them in our province. This is Manitoba. So we have a lot to explore. This place has changed since I went to school here back in the day. Specifically, we're exploring the Notre Dame campus. A lot of the trades happen here. In fact, there's like 35 different trades that are taught here. So on the podcast, we'll hear a bit about that. But we also are going to be hearing more about Gen Z specifically and what gets them excited about their futures in Manitoba. And for Heavenly Martins, it has to do with the Indigenous Support Center that is at RRC Polytech campus. So Heavenly Martins went to 7 different schools. She dropped out of all of them. She said she had some trauma in her life, she had some mental health challenges, she struggled, and school just wasn't sticking. In fact, she dropped out to go to South Beach Casino. But something about RRC Polytech got this 24-year-old not only excited about learning again, but seeing her potential. And she has quite a story to share.
Your skirt is beautiful. Can you just talk about it? Ribbon skirt?
Yeah, so actually it's technically my grandmother's because for her birthday this year, one of her friends, her name is Lisa, I believe, she made this beautiful skirt as a gift, and my grandmother lets me wear it when I go do ceremony and stuff like this, just so I can have her with me. And yeah, because she doesn't get out as much as I do, so she says she wants it to be used.
Oh, how special. Lovely. For the radio listeners, it's just got pink ribbons all the way down and some just beautiful flowering on it. What program are you taking here?
I'm currently in the Pathway to Business Communications and Digital Technology program. And so right now, it's just like a 9-month kind of introductory. And then, so after my 9 months is over in May, I get to choose my progressional program afterwards, which will be like 2 years, and I'll get my diploma through that program.
So you're already looking ahead. What do you want to do with your education?
I have a few ideas. Right now, I'm kind of undecided between communications, like focusing on journalism, but I'm also super interested in their social innovation and community development programs, specifically community development.
I mentioned part of your story. You went to 7 schools. You grew up, actually, you shared with me in Winnipeg's North End and then out around Brokenhead, where you are now. You were once in a school with 100 students, and then you were in a school with 1,100 students.
Yeah.
What were the challenges for you in trying to, get your education sorted?
Like, it's hard to explain. Like, I feel like a lot of other Indigenous youth and people, like just Indigenous people in general, will kind of understand how hard it is to exist in this type of society with intergenerational trauma and everything that we carry with us from, our past and our present. And as a kid, you don't really understand what's going on, and you're confused, and you're just really lost, and no one around you is able to kind of guide you because they're in the same situation. And so I just felt really lost. I didn't have a sense of identity. I didn't really know like where I belonged. I didn't have any community, and that really like creates that sense of like loneliness. And then when you're mentally ill on top of that, it's a struggle because you feel like you're crazy, in the nicest way. It's really lonesome.
And when you were just a teenager, you shared with me, so I'm just, for the sake of the listeners here, we had a longer talk about this, but you lost a friend, you lost a family member at a young age, you were a caregiver, like you had to be almost older beyond your years to care for others, and a lot of pressures. Yeah,
and it's hard, like I said, because a lot of Indigenous people also kind of fall into that role as a caregiver when they're really young, because my grandparents, they raised me and they adopted me, and I'm extremely grateful for everything that they did for me, but their health really, like you said, made me grow up fast, and I kind of lost out a lot of, from my childhood, and that contributed to like the mental health struggle and feeling alone, because I would see all these people, having fun and being kids, and I wouldn't be able to have that experience because I had to go home and be a caretaker.
Let's talk about what works about RRC here, because you said, quote, it helped heal some of the trauma I had with the education system. You volunteer as part of the resource crew of student volunteers here on campus at the Indigenous Support Center. How has the center helped you here at Red River?
It's helped me so much. Like, I've only, my first term is only finishing in about 2 weeks, and it's incredible just the amount of, improvement that I've made that not only everyone around me notices but I notice within myself, because even though I am like doing a lot better, I still struggle with my anxiety, that insecurity, you know, feeling behind because I don't have my diploma and all that stuff. So coming here and meeting all these people who are in the similar situations, who understand what I'm going through, really helped. And now I have that community that I didn't have growing up, and they have wonderful elders and knowledge keepers, and Paul and Richard and Grandma Janice, and I'm just so thankful for them and all the other staff that they have, because they really go the extra mile to make sure that we succeed and we stay in school. And having that support is honestly life-changing, as someone who never experienced support like that.
When you dropped out to school, I mean, you think back to that time and initially went to work in the, you know, at the casino. Did you ever imagine you'd be sitting here this morning, like talking about all this?
No, not at all. Like, it's because I had really bad social anxiety, to the point where part of the reason why I dropped out was because I just couldn't bring myself to stand in front of the class and present. And so, like, here I am, like, talking, like, using that experience to kind of advocate and raise awareness to the struggles that Indigenous youth face. And I would never picture, like, myself graduating or, like, being an advocate or doing any of this, and it blows my mind every opportunity that I get. I'm just, like, so grateful to do this work that I do.
Your future work, you want to give back to Brokenhead specifically in a really specific way, right? So what's your thinking?
So, like, yes, I grew up in the North End, but I also grew up in the reserve for, like, my teenage years, and I experienced, like, almost a total lack of, like, stuff to do. You know, we had one play structure that was locked after school hours. You know, they didn't really have any other, like, sports programs or anything else for people who weren't interested in sports. And so I was just kind of at home, like, on my computer the whole time, and it was, like I said, a really lonely experience. And once I started getting out and doing more land-based and cultural, that's where I started getting out of my shell and finding out who I was and feeling so much better. And I want to work on, like, getting project management and governance and all this stuff, so I can start organizing and implementing programs for the youth in my community to help them so they won't have to go through the experiences that I went through.
I have no doubt you will. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Marcy. I'm honored to be here. I'm so glad I could talk to you today.
I'm so glad you made it on the program.
Thank you.
What a story, but also, can you believe she's 24 years old? That's sort of the thing that really stays with me. Heavenly Martin, student here at RRC Polytech, on a special edition of This is Manitoba today. By the way, the program she's in, I just want to mention, in case you're listening and you're thinking you want to learn more, it's called Pathway to Business, Creative Communications, and Digital Technology. Well, the program that the next three guys are in are all trades programs that are sort of traditional here at RRC Polytech. There's 35 different trades at the Notre Dame campus. But what is attracting people to the trades in 2024? And how do you keep those folks in Manitoba to be part of our future? I sat down with 26-year-old Justice Terry, 22-year-old Adam Fast, and 25-year-old Ben Reyes. They're studying to be electricians, carpentry, and Ben is training to be an automotive tech. Here's what they had to share.
So how long have you been studying here, Ben, and why did you choose RRC?
This is my first year, and I decided to choose RSC because I wanted to better my future and perfect my craft more in automotive, and decide to move up in this world.
Nice. How about you, Adam?
I came to RSC to get my red seal. I'm in my level 3 now, so I got one more year left, and everything's been great so far.
Awesome. And how about electrical for you? How long have you been studying here, Justice?
This is my 4th level that I'm going through, so I'll be finishing up in the end of January, and I can't wait.
Ready to go. Ready to go. So, Ben, earlier I mentioned this one-to-one apprenticeship model, or anybody can respond to this, but I just want to throw it to Ben. That's a change from previous, 2-to-1 model?
Yes, correct.
Can you explain sort of what that refers to and what difference that would make when you're thinking about yourself?
Well, I can't speak for other trades, but for ours, with my journeyman, he was allowed a 2-for-1, so he was allowed 2 apprentices at once. Going to college at different times, but now it's switched back to 1-to-1, so now I'm the only one under him.
How does that benefit you in your learning?
It doesn't really change at all, because the journeyman ahead of me that was an apprentice before, he was studying before me here as well, and he was also at a 1-to-1, so we didn't really do 2-to-1 at our shop, but we really just stayed with 101, but now I have 2 journeymen above me, and then I can learn from and grow.
Got it. So it would be more when the change was 2 to 1.
Yeah.
That those folks might have had less 1-to-1 contact for learning.
Yes, correct.
But you've always been in the system that's 1-to-1.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And Adam, you always, I understand, knew you wanted to study carpentry after high school. Why?
Yeah, no, I was a sporty guy in high school, and there's a lot of crossover. You could work with a big group of people, towards a common goal, and you get to work with your body, and I really like all those factors about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Carpentry, we were in there yesterday. We had a student on earlier actually studying in carpentry as well, and they had a 4-year master's at university. They left to go into the program, saying they saw people retiring in that particular field and felt like there was job opportunity as well. Did you think about that?
Yeah, I actually did 2 years of university as well, but no, I always knew I wanted to be a carpenter. Yeah, there's a little bit of a shortage of carpenters, and it's a really good trade because you kind of get to see the holistic view of at least residential carpentry, and there's commercial as well, but I always like residential.
Justice, you're almost done. 4 years. What drew you to be an electrician?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Electrical, what drew you to it?
There's a lot that goes on in electrical, and when I was first coming up to be an electrician, my whole idea was, well, I wanted to be an electrical engineer, and then I decided that I'm glad I'm not an electrical engineer now, because there's too many times where I've been on site and I've looked at the print and I've just looked at the engineered print and I've gone, this is not going to work.
It's not for you.
Just what they've done is not going to work, and I don't want to be the guy making the print, passing it on to the next guy that then goes, who did this?
Got it.
I have to fix all their mistakes now. So the fact that I am hands-on, I can look at it and I can see those mistakes and then fix them, is a lot more appealing. The labor aspect, it's a lot more appealing than sitting behind the desk and just stamping on a piece of paper saying, yeah, sure, this will do.
How did you decide to be an automotive mechanic?
I've always been growing up around cars and stuff, and watching F1 races and everything, but what really got me into it was I saw that my friend actually was in it, in the apprenticeship program as well, and he was telling me that all of his schooling was free, and his work takes care of all of that and stuff, and that he thinks that I should get into it. So I decided to, since I've always been growing up around cars and trucks and all that, I decided to give it a shot, and I'm loving it so far. Yeah.
We got to talk later. There's a really good documentary on the mechanics behind the F1 cars.
Yeah, correct.
You've probably seen it already. Anyway, if you haven't, it's really, really cool. What's a common, for you, Ben, in carpentry, what's a common misconception that you find people have about your trade? Like a myth? Is it one of those everybody thinks they can do it themselves trades?
Yeah, you know what, that's there's a lot of Kijiji carpenters out there, and it just adds more credit to the red seal, and you want to have that credit behind you.
What do you want to build? Do you want to build, when you think about it, where do your skills lie? Are you an artist? Are you a house builder? What do you want to build? What do you want to do?
I'm really interested in residential carpentry, and it's kind of nice because carpenters, they're there when you're pouring the foundation and forming that up, and then you're there all the way to the end doing base and case and, the finished product. So I like the idea of building a house start to finish. I work for a great company, Winnipeg Building and Decorating, and do insurance claims, so you could one day, be framing a garage and the next day putting cabinets in an apartment, and it's really good.
And what about for you, Justice? What do you think that people commonly sort of misunderstand about the trades overall, some of those things?
I think every trade is, anybody can look at it and think that, I can just do this myself if I go on a YouTube video. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of guys that do not know anything, and they go on YouTube and then they actually get the correct answer. So as much as it's true, you really shouldn't be doing that, especially when it comes to electrical, because you think that you can do it yourself, but you can die very easy when you're doing your own electrical. You need to have that trained professional come in and actually do it for you. You should always have a trained professional come in and do it for you instead of trying to do it yourself.
What are the chances that you three are going to stay in Manitoba when you're done your training? What do you think, Justice? Are you already thinking about it or not?
Well, it depends. Once we all get our red seals, we're accredited across Canada, so we could go anywhere that we want. And there's a lot of places around the world that'll actually accept the red seal from Canada. It's highly recognized, and that just opens up any opportunity. I know for myself that when I get my red seal, that means that there's no limits. I can do whatever I want. You can point at anything right now, and I'll tell you, yes, I can work on that as soon as I get my red seal.
So you're not sure if you're going to do it here or not?
I might move.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other things that are anchoring me here to Manitoba, but maybe once those things are gone, then I can move somewhere else.
How about for you guys? For you, Ben and Adam. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I plan on staying. I see like there's a lot of building to be done here. You know, we got a lot of space and got a lot of new people coming, so this is good. It's a good place to be. I plan on staying.
And Ben?
I haven't fully decided yet. I've always wanted to move to Calgary because the rest of my family's been out there, but there's always work here. There's always work in Alberta. There's always work in Ontario.
Yeah.
So I'll just see where the future takes me, you know, like if a good opportunity comes up.
Let me, before you guys go this morning, and thanks for sharing so much about your, your studies and what you want to do with them and your hopes. I wonder, as Gen Z, like when you look overall, there's a lot of push to sort of bring the trades back now, but then there's also, it's an interesting generation, your generation, because then there's also a lot of stress, about everything in the world right now, and also about job opportunities and finances, and everything's so expensive, and will I have a house? And top of mind, do you feel more hopeful or worried? And like, how does studying here help you with some of those anxieties that can live in Gen Z?
The studying here has been very difficult because my program's only 8 weeks, there's an exam every week. So for example, last week we had 3 exams. So the stress is not it's not getting better. It's adding on. But honestly, it's all worth it in the end because that just means that I'll be better and smarter as soon as I get out of here.
It's going to give you a light at the end of the tunnel a little bit,
Exactly, yeah.
maybe. How about for you? How are you wrapping your head around all that generationally thinking?
I find myself in a good spot here. Like there's there's no shortage of jobs in my case that I've experienced, and it really helps when you work for a good company. Like I said, Winnipeg Building and Decorating, they treat their employees right. So I'm fortunate to be in a good circumstance.
And for you, Justice, feeling overall more positive or worried as a Gen Zer looking forward?
Feeling that way I always feel. I don't really care too much about any of the problems in the world. I just focus on what I'm doing and make sure that I'm doing it right.
And you're almost done.
And I'm almost done.
Good luck the rest of the way. Thank you 3 for being here, especially since you apparently have an exam every week.
Yeah.
Take care. Nice to meet all of you.
This is Manitoba, the episode that featured RRC Polytech. Really awesome to be here on campus. And thank you for listening and for following along. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to follow and share.